Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to take you step by step through the process of creating and containerizing a web API using .NET. We'll cover everything from setting up your environment and installing the essential packages, all the way to containerizing your application with Docker. We will also use Docker Compose in order to spin up an SQL server, and then we'll use the Compose with a network for the containers to be able to speak to each other. And to start off, we will need to, well, here I have also the step-by-step things I will go through. So create a web API, install the packages, etc. And I will also pull up this document as we go to make sure that we go through each step, kind of step by step. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a new project in our Visual Studio. So I will press create new project. And then from here, I will take ASP.NET Core Web API. I'll press next here. I will call this Docker Compose Potato Demo because I already used the word Docker Compose demo. So this will be Docker Compose Potato Demo. And we will press next. And from here, you could actually already use or implement this container support. You can press this button and you will get container support from the get-go. But I wanted to show you guys that it's fairly easy to implement this Docker support or the container support uh, in the project afterwards, because some of you might already have a project that you want to containerize, and well, you shouldn't have to start over each time. So I will for this step I will skip this little button. From here, we just press create. I'm gonna move this over here. There we go. So the first step is actually done. So we've created a web API. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to install the necessary packages, and we're going to need 4 packages in total. So we'll go to tools and we'll go to NuGet package manager, and we'll take this second one, manage NuGet packages for solutions. And then from here, we'll press browse and we'll go through the packages. The first thing we need in this application is Entity Framework core. So I'll just type Entity Framework and I will press Microsoft.Entity Framework core. I'll choose the project and I'll press install. So that's one of the 4 packages. Just press accept. And then we're gonna need .tools, so Entity Framework tools. And here we can press this one and we'll install that one as well. And in order for us to do our migration and add our database, we will also need design. So I'll write design. So it's the same name, Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore.design. You just press install from here and then accept that one. And the last one we want to use is the SQL Server because, as I said, we're going to connect these containers to each other. So the web API will be fetching data from a Docker container, and in order for us to do that, we need the SQL Server. So we'll write SQL, and we will be able to find it. So it's Entity Framework Core.SQL Server, and we press install here as well. Boom, I accept. Now, from here, we've done step 1 and 2. So we've done create web API and we've installed our packages. The next thing we were going to do is we're going to create relevant folders. I like to have at least one data folder and one models folder. In the models folder, I will just create one class called products, and in the data folder, I will create my DB context. So what we will do is we'll right-click the project, we'll go to add, we'll do a new folder, and we'll call this one data. And then we will do the same thing. We'll right click this one, go add new folder, and we will call this one models. And let's just check. So there we go. We have the folders created. Now we'll create our product class and our product context class. So I will start with the product class first. So I'll go to the models and I right click it, add, and we'll add just a new class. This class I will call product like so. And this product, I will keep this demo fairly simple because it's about Docker, not the code. So here we will do public int ID, and then we'll have a get set on that one. We'll have a public string name, and get set on that one as well, and then just a price because a product needs both a name and the price. We can skip to the description, so we'll do public int price. and get set. So now we have the class done, the product class done. Now we will go to the data class. So we'll add, we'll do class, and this one I will call product context, like so. Now this class is a bit more complicated than the other one. The first thing we need to do is we need to extend db context, like so. And then we will also need to create a constructor. So we'll do public product context. And then in the parentheses here, we're going to take in db context options, like so. And we will call it options. And then we will do like this. And we'll do like that. And then we'll do base options. Now we're almost done with this class. The last thing we need from here in here is the db set. So we'll do public db set, and we'll do product context here, and we'll call it products, like so. So now we actually have uh, our our classes that we need, and as we see here, now we're done with this class as well. Now, the next thing we need to do from here is now we need to register the DB context in program.cs and get the connection string. Now, I don't have a connection string set up right now, but I'll do it very soon. So we'll go to the program.cs file. We can do it under this line, well, under the builder services before the builder.build. Here we'll do builder.services, not add controllers, builder.services, add DB context, like so. And this DB context will be options, and then we'll do like that, options dot use SQL server, like so. Use SQL server, and we add DB context. Maybe I missed something. Hold on 1 second. I think I missed something. I did miss something for sure. Program.cs options. Ah, my bad. I need to put in DB context here, product context here, like so. And now this should be able to just pop up, use SQL server, like so. And from here we'll do builder.configuration.get connection string. And the connection string will be called default connection. So we'll just do default connection, like so. And then I need to add my semicolons at the end. I think I have one too many parentheses. I do. There we go. Now with that set up, we can just check the steps. So we registered the DB context. And now we need to add our connection string in the app settings.json. So from here, I will navigate to the app settings.json, which is here. And under this allowed host, I will do like that. I will press enter, do like that, connection strings. And here I need to make sure I name it the same thing that I did in my program.cs. So I will do default connection. And right now I do not have a connection string, so I will just leave it blank for now. And we can see what the next step is. So we need to add initial seed data and add migration. What we can actually do, because let me just see. So we have this, add initial seed data. Do we really want to do that right now? Yes, we can. So right now, I do not have a database. I do not have a server. I actually don't have anything. So in order for us to proceed, we actually need to create some kind of database. And since I do not have a database and I do not have some code in it, I'm going to use code to actually create a database and populate that database. So in this section, just above this, so this thing is just boilerplate code that you get from Visual Studio when you choose to create a web API. So from here, I will do using. And you don't really need this section. This is more for demonstration purposes. Like you can actually create a database manually and just populate it with some data to make sure it works. But I will just create this section just to showcase how you can do it with code. So we'll create a scope here. So var scope equals to app.services.get required, dot create scope, like so. And then we need this one, and then we're going to press enter. We'll press enter here actually, and then we'll press enter and enter, like so. In here, we're going to do var context. Context equals to scope dot service provider dot get required service, And here we need our product context like that. I will just auto-complete that. And after that, we will do context dot database dot migrate. So if you check this call over here, you can see that if you just hover over this migrate, you will see applies any pending migration for the context to the database. We'll create a database if it doesn't already exist. So that's kind of good. But before we actually do that, we need to also we need to create our migration, because right now I do not have a migration folder, and you can do that fairly simple by just going to tools over here, and then you go to NuGet package manager console, and you just go to the package manager console, and from here you will just do add dash migration, and then call it something. I will call it initial migration, and then you just do enter. This won't work because I didn't actually build it. Maybe it will work, but usually when you install packages, it's a good thing that you do build. It seems to work. Da, da, da. DB context, la 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 la, product context, da, da, could not be found. I will just do a manual build. So if you do Control B, you will do a manual build. This is always recommended when you actually create when you install packages. Just do a manual build, and then you should be able uh, to do this command once again. So I'll do it again. I think everything is set up correctly. Maybe I missed something. Unable to create DB context out of type. Text, la, 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 la. I think I missed something, so I will go back to my data folder, product context. Let's see if I missed something. Data, and then we have this. I think I have everything here. Let me see. Oh, this is not supposed to be product context. It's just supposed to be product, like so, like that. And then you have to make sure that you also import the correct reference. So docker compose dot models, because it's in the models folder. And now I will just clear this, clear, and I will do this again. So add migration, initial migration. Now everything should work. Every time I say everything should work, nothing works. Just an FYI, right? That's also the life as a developer. As soon as you're about to demonstrate something, shit usually breaks down. But now I have my migration folder, so we can go back to our thingamajiggy. So I have done this. Add initial C data. No, I haven't really added initial C data, but I will do that now because now I have my migration folder. So from here, I go back to program.cs. I'll go get back to this section. So again, this part will create a database if the database does not exist. And right now, I do not have a database. But moreover, I also wanted to create some products for me into the database, since the database will be completely fresh. I don't want to manually go in and write some SQL queries to actually create the data, the entries. So I will just write some code. So if context dot products dot any, so if there's nothing in there, because you see the exclamation mark, so if it's empty, basically I want to create some product. So I will do context dot dot products dot add range. So I'll just add 3, and I'll do like that, and I'll do that, and we'll just from here we can do new product. And now I need to import this, and I can do that by just pressing Alt Enter, and then you just import this using statement, like so. Then from here, we'll do curly brackets, and I will press new. I don't need to press new, I already did new, but we need a name, and we're gonna call this Coca-Cola, and then we need to give it a price. You don't need to give it an ID, because SQL will do this for you manually or automatically. So we'll do a price, and the price will be 10. And then I will add 2 more products. So we'll do new product as well, new product, and then we'll do name equals to Fanta, and Fanta will be the same price, 10. And then we're gonna do the last one, which is Pepsi, and Pepsi usually Pepsi is cheaper than Coca-Cola, right? So we'll do product, and then we'll do same thing again. We'll do name equals to Pepsi Cola. We're gonna do Bebzi, like the Arabs say it, Bebzi, Bibsy, and then we're gonna give it a price of 5, like so. And then we need to add our curly or semicolon. And whenever you're working with an SQL database and you create a new entry, you also need to remember to do context.save changes, like so. Boom. Now I have the code necessarily to actually continue from here. But before I do anything, before I actually, do this in Docker, etc., I just wanted to show you guys doing this with localhost. We could also have this add migration, run code, and check DB. So that's what we're going to do. We're actually going to see that this works. But as you guys can see, I don't actually have any connection string, so I need a connection string. Now, there's several ways you can get your connection string. If you have SSMS installed, you can get it from there, but you do not need SSMS. You do not need to start SSMS because it kind of kills your computer. So what I will do, if you I can just show you guys, if you press view over here, and then you go down to this SQL Server Object Explorer, then I will see my database here. So this is the database on my local host. I have two databases here. So this is my local DB. This is on my local host, and this is an old database. I will just remove it. From here, if I want to get the connection to this database, what I can do is I can right-click this little guy over here, and I can press Properties. And when you press Properties, well, you won't see it now because my face is actually covering it. So I'm going to move my camera to this side for now. When you press properties, this little thing will show up in the right corner. And if you scroll all the way up, you see that there's this under general thing, there's this thing called connection string, and you can just copy. You copy that, copy, 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 and you go to your default connection and you put it in there. And when you put it in there, you can also see data source, local DB, etc. Blah blah blah. And I will change this catalog because you do not want to put your database in this master catalog. So I will create a new catalog or a new database. So here I will just change this name to Potato DB products or something like that because I have a lot of product databases. There we go. Now I think that everything is set up correctly. I will move back my camera, boom, and I will close this properties. Now I think that everything is set up properly and we can actually run the application. Now, just to make sure and to show you guys, so if I open up my database, you can see that right now there is no database called Potato DB products, right? But if I press run here, so we press run, like so. Now we can see that Swagger works. So you see that my application actually ran. Now there is nothing with products here because I haven't actually created an endpoint for this yet. But as you can see, the application works. And if I now go to my database, which is here, and I press refresh, and I open up this again, press databases, you can now see I have a new database called Potato DB products. So if I open up this and I go to tables, you can now see I also have a new table called dbo.products. Here, what I can do is I can right click this, press view data, and then you will see that now I have three entries in my table. One is Coca-Cola, one is Fanta, and one is Pepsi, right? So locally everything works, which is perfect. So from here we can just pause this or we can just stop the application from running, and we will go back to our document to make sure that we're on the correct path. So what we've done so far is we created the API, installed the packages, created folders, added the classes, registered DB context, we added the connection string and we changed it to the proper connection string or the local host. We added some seed data. Again, like you do not need to do this in code. You can do this manually, or you can actually create the endpoints that you need and then just, do a post request and just add some data. Then we added migration with the command add migration. And then we also run the code and we check the database. And so far, it all seems very, very good. Now the next step is to actually add this Docker file. But yeah, well, let's add the Docker file. Oh, you know what? Before we actually do that, we can just add our get request so we can actually see the data. So before we add the the Docker file, I'm going to create one new endpoint in order for me to actually, see the data within Swagger. So I will do one app.map get like so, and I will create a new endpoint. I will call it products like so, and then this thing will be async, and it will take in what do we actually need? We need a product DB context, right? Yeah, that's what we need. So we'll do product context, and I will call it DB, and then I will do lambda expression, and I will do await db.products dot toList async, just to demonstrate that this actually works and everything actually works. So I will do a run again. And now when I run the application, I will actually see my new endpoint within Swagger, and I can call it, and I will, see my thingamajiggy. So now I run it. You see I have two endpoints. I have the weather forecast that comes per default, and I have my products folder here. So if I press this, I press try it out, I go execute. You can now see that I see the products. So everything works as intended so far. So far, so good. Now from here we will add our Docker file, or yeah, we will add our Docker file. And there's two ways to do this. You can either add your Docker file manually, so you just press and add a file and you call it Docker file. It's important that it's called Docker file. It's not like you can get away with not calling a Docker file, but it's kind of stupid. Maybe you can't, I don't even remember, but yeah, the standard is call it a Docker file. So from here, I will just add, and the other way, so that's the first way. You add a file, you call it Docker file, and you have a Docker file. The second way is you right click your project like this, and then you go to add, and then you have this. You have this Docker support. We will not do the container orchestration support yet. We will do that in a couple of steps when we need to add Docker Compose. But right now we will do the Docker support. So here we press Docker support, and then target operating system will be Linux, and then we'll just create a Docker file. We press OK, and now we have our Docker file. Now this will actually run out of the box. So now if I press run, this application will actually run. But if I try to build this Docker image from this Docker file using the terminal, which I will demonstrate for you right now. So if I go here, if I go to, I'll open PowerShell. If I open PowerShell like this, so in many cases, you would like to create an image, because that's kind of the point with Dockerfile, right? You cannot have an image without a Dockerfile. So let's say I want to create an image from this Dockerfile. What I would do is I need to first go to wherever this Dockerfile is, and I can just right click my project, copy the full path. And within PowerShell here, let's see, did it wake up? Hello, PowerShell. I will press CD. So CD stands for change directory. My computer is being very slow right now because I'm running both the stream and I'm recording at the same time. So we'll do change directory, and then I will just copy paste the path to this project, and I will remove this path because this is the path for the actual CS project. So I will just remove this path all the way to Docker Compose potato demo like so. Here I can do dir to see what files resides in this folder. And as long as you see the Docker file, then you know you're in the correct path. So right now I am in the correct path, right? From here, I will do Docker build, and then I need to add a tag. So I will do -t for tag, and then I will call it Kakashi Duta slash Docker. I will just do compose. I will do Docker compose potato demo, and then I will add a tag, call it latest, and then the last thing you need to do is a dot. The dot is, well, this argument is where is the Docker file located, and you see the Docker file is here in my current path. So this dot just says in this folder. So if I press enter, then you will see it will die pretty fast. So you see, immediately I get an error, because when you do this, when you generate the way I did, when you add container support like that, what Visual Studio do is it kind of fucks up the paths, right? These paths aren't correct. This is not where my Docker file is, etc. So the best thing I've figured out is just to edit these paths. So the first thing we need to do is we don't need a new folder called Docker Compose Potato Demo. We already have that shit, right? So I don't need a folder within a folder within a folder because we're already in a new folder called source. So I will remove this thing like so. And then I don't need to do this either because I just removed that folder. So I can just put a dot over here. Now that I did that, all these paths needs to also be changed. Like I won't demonstrate that, but just take me for my words. If I try to run this again, it will break, it will not work. So what I will do is I will also remove this path because again, I don't need 10 folders like so. And then I will remove this source here. So, or I can keep the source, but I don't need this path because I already removed that path. So I'll remove that one as well. And then over here, I will also remove this path and I will go down to this and I will remove that path. Now everything should work. And of course, every time I say everything should work, it never works, but we'll try again. Docker build tag cachedota docker compose latest dot enter. And let's see if we can have a new Docker container or a Docker image. So this might take a couple of minutes. It's not going to be that long, but hopefully it will work. And as you can see, we already gotten past where we crashed last time, which is amazing. And this is by far like these things are by far where most people run into errors. So just if you do what I just did, you're gonna have a lot, life will be a lot easier. So now we can see we actually created a new image. It seems like everything worked out as intended. So we'll go to Docker Desktop, we'll go to images, and now we can see it actually created a new Docker image for me, which is perfect. Now, if I try to run this image, I will show you guys. So if I try to run this image or run this application, which I will do right now. I will just close all the containers. I will close this container that's already up. That's Visual Studio doing it for me. So if I press run now, then we will have a crash. And the reason why we have a crash is because, well, this Docker container is running on my computer, but it isn't running on my computer. Like a Docker environment is an isolated environment, right? And I cannot connect to my local host the same way I just, connected from localhost to localhost. So you see here, local DB is not supported on this platform. This thing is kind of a Windows feature. And because I took a Linux operating system, and you should always not always, but 90%, 95% of the times you want to have a Linux image because everything in Docker is kind of Linux based. So it's just get used to it, right? If you're not used to Linux, go learn that shit. It's pretty useful, especially if you're learning Docker, right? Again, 95% of all the images are Linux based, and if you're gonna be comfortable working with Docker, you should at least learn some Linux fundamentals, right? So now with that out of the way, we can go back to this thingamajiggy. So we add the Docker file and containerize the application. That's check. We edited edited I cannot say that word. We edited whatever. We fixed the paths in the Docker file. We built an image and then we tried it, it didn't work. So now the next thing to do is we will actually pull an SQL Server image and connect to that one because that will work so much better for us. So what we want to do right now, we don't want to use our local host anymore on this, so we will need to one, change our connection string, and two, we will need to pull a Docker image. So in order to pull this Docker image, you will do this. So you will go to PowerShell, and here it doesn't really matter where you are. So because we're gonna pull an image from Docker Hub, so the path doesn't really matter. So what you will do from here is you will do Docker run, right? we'll do Docker pull first. So we'll do, no, we can actually do Docker run because it won't find the image. So it will actually go and pull the image for us. So we'll do Docker run, and then it needs some environment variables. So the first environment variable is you need accept dash EULA, like so, equals to yes, like so. I will make this bigger so you can see everything in one line, like so. So I'll make this way bigger, right? So that's the first thing you do. You need accept EULA equals to yes, and then you need another environment variable, and this will be the password. So we need to provide a password for this container, and the password environment variable is mssql underscore sa underscore password, and then you should implement or provide a strong password. I don't give a fuck about that, so I will just do password 12345 exclamation mark. Super strong password, right? And then we need to bind the port, so we'll do dash ports and we'll do 1433, and we'll bind it to our 1433. And this is also the standard ports when you're using SQL Server. From here, we will do dash D like so, and we'll do this D is detached mode. If I try to run this container without the D command, then I will kind of be stuck in the container's terminal, and I don't want to be stuck in that terminal, so I will just do in detached mode. And then we need to actually specify the name of the container, and the name of the container is mcr.microsoft.com, and then dash mssql dash server colon latest, no, colon 2022 dash latest. Like so, I almost got it to fit in one sentence. There we go. So I think that's it. I think that's all we need. If I press enter here, I already have the image on my computer. That's why it went super duper fast. If you don't have the image on your computer locally, it will say cannot find the image locally, going to fetch it from whatever, blah, blah, blah. And now I can actually see that a container is running. So if I go back to Docker Desktop, you see that now I have two containers running. The first container is this Visual Studio thingamajiggy. And then if you look down here, you can see that this is actually running my Microsoft SQL Server. And it's running on port 1433. And I can actually connect to this container using SSMS, or I can actually connect to this container using the thingamajiggy, right? So from here, I will do, what will I do? I will do, um, I don't want to start SSMS because that will really kill my computer because I have so much things going on right now. So what we will do is we'll just connect it from here. So I'll just press over here. But again, you can open SSMS if you want. And the server name right now is going to be localhost and then colon 14 comma, it's called comma, this thing 1433, because that's the port I matched it to. And from here we're going to use SQL authentication. So SQL authentication username will be SA, and the password is whatever password you provided. I provided password 12345 exclamation mark. I think so. Let me just double check. Yeah, as you see, this is my password. So password 12345 exclamation mark. And then we want to have this trust server certificate to be true. And if I press connect here, boom, you see that I now have a new server. If I open up this server, I can see that I do not have any new databases. The only database I have is this system databases, which is not what I want quite. I want to have, the new database, but I can do the same thing here, right? I can just right click this and I can do properties. And if I go all the way to the top, I have this data source here. I can just, or the connection string, I can just copy that connection string, copy, 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 copy. I go to my app settings.json, and I will now change this connection string because this connection string, again, this connection strings leads to my SQL server on my local host. Now I want to use the SQL server that is hosted within this container, right? So from here, what I will do is I will just remove this connection string for now, like so, boom, and I will just press like this. Now I think this connection string is quite long, and we don't really need all of this. Just give me 1 second to double check. So let's just try this connection string. So I got this connection string from the properties. I'm just going to try this right out before I change anything, just to make sure that if it works or not. But here you need to actually change your password because this password is not a password, it's just a couple of stars. So here you need to provide your password. So we'll do password 12345 exclamation mark. And this is actually missing something, right? So it doesn't, in this connection string, I do not have a database. Like you see, it nowhere in this connection string do I say what will be my database. So it will just put this in the master database, and you don't want your stuff there because here you have you have Microsoft's databases, so you should leave the master empty. But here I will actually create a new catalog or a new database. So I will just do database equals to and I will just call it products or something, products db or something like that. I'm not sure, I don't remember if this works, but let's just try it out for shits and giggles. uh, so I'm going to remove this container for now. Delete, yes, delete forever. Bye bye. I will still have my SQL container running for now, and I will press run. Hopefully this works. Maybe not. I don't remember, to be honest. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I need to change this connection string. Maybe not. We'll see in a moment. So we're running the container. While we wait for this to actually run, let me just go check how far did I get. So pull the SQL Server image and connect to the container using SSMS for demonstration. Now I didn't use SSMS, I just used the Object Explorer, but it's more or less the same shit. You can take me on my words for that. And it seems like we have a crash, la 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 la. The server was not found or accessible, la 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 la. So we had a crash. And again, I think this connection string is a bit too long. Maybe I will just try another connection string. Uh, so we'll go back to our app settings.json. I'll remove this shit like that. And I will write this myself. So server equals to SQL server. And then we have database equals to product DB, like so. And then we'll have user dash ID equals to SA, and then we'll have password equals to oh, this is not correct, it's supposed to be localhost 1433. And then here we'll do password. I'll provide my password 12345 exclamation mark. And then we will also put trusted uh, 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 trust is a trust server certificate equals to true. I think it was equals to true. I'm not sure. This might not work because now you kind of need Docker Compose, as you can see in my step. If I show you my steps, you see add Docker Compose and edit it. I just wanted to see for demonstration purposes if I can actually get this to work before I add Docker Compose. Most likely not, because now you would need to have Docker Compose and add these two containers into the same network. But I just want to manually check this for educational purposes if this works or not. So we're gonna wait. Okay, so it didn't work, which is okay. So in this step, we need to actually add Docker Compose. The reason it doesn't work is because these containers are running on separate networks. Because whenever you run a container, this container is within its isolated environment. And I have two different containers. So even if they are both on my computer, nothing tells these containers that, hey, you guys, you're allowed to speak to each other, right? They don't understand that. They don't do anything we don't tell them to do. So what we need to do now is we need to add we could do this manually in the terminal to add a network, but it's much better to use Docker Compose. And what is Docker Compose? Well, Docker Compose is an orchestration tool, right? So when you want to spin up multiple images or multiple containers at the same time, you would either use Docker Compose, Docker Swarm, or maybe Kubernetes. But Kubernetes is such an overkill for such a small application. Now, to add Docker Compose, you can also do this in multiple ways. You can, add your compose file, or you can do it the same way I did it before. So we'll do the same thing. We'll press this button, right click it, we'll go to add, and we'll press Docker here. Add container orchestrator support, right? Container orchestrator will be Docker Compose, and we will press OK. And the target OS will be Linux, and we will press OK. Now, Now what happens is the following. So now we have a Docker Compose file up here. This Docker Compose file is in the root project, right? It's not in the same project as this Docker file, but it's there anyways. So in this Compose file, if I press it, you can see that Visual Studio actually created a Docker Compose file for me. Now this Docker Compose file, what it does, it will only run one container because again, it doesn't know that this SQL server exists or that I want to connect to it. It doesn't make any assumptions, right? So what I need to do now is I need to specify my services or the two different containers that I need. I will just check the steps to make sure I'm on the right path. So we are, so we pull the Docker SQL server and we can add Docker Compose and edit it. So we'll do we added the compose and now we will edit it. Now I could sit here and actually write the entire thing, but it's going to take a long time and I don't think you want me to want to see me write YAML code. So I will just copy paste my Docker Compose file for you guys so that you have it. 1 second. So and then I will just talk about what I did, right? So I have a compose file. I will just delete this and I will add this, right? So what we have here is the complete compose file needed for this project. Now this isn't quite correct because this is not the path, so I need to change this path. And now it's called Docker compose potato demo, like so. Okay, so in this Docker Compose file, I have two services. The first service is my Docker Compose demo. Well, that's also wrong. This is supposed to be Docker Compose Potato demo, like so. So I have my two services. I have my Docker Compose Potato demo, which contains a Docker file, and this Docker file, I say it lies in the folder called Docker Compose Potato Demo. This is it, Docker Compose Potato Demo, and here is my Docker file. I bind the ports 8080 to 8080 and 8081 to 8081. And I also have this thing called depends on. So this depends on what the point of it is that this application will not run before this application is done. And I will get back to that shortly. What I also have is this environment variable and I've set it to development. And the reason I set it to development and not production is if I have it in development mode, I actually get access to this Swagger UI, and you do not need the Swagger UI. You can actually live without it. But then in order for me to actually create a post request, I need to use something like Postman and stuff like that. It's just much easier to do it in Compose. I can also remove this like that, and now I will always have Swagger UI, but you do not want Swagger UI in a production environment. Anyways, then I have also created something called a product network, as you can see here. So I have a network called product network, and both this container and this container have the same network. If they are in the same network, they can speak to each other, but I'll get back to that very shortly. And then I also have this restart flag. So if the container fails, which it did for several reasons, then just restart. So basically, if this container fails for any reason, just try to restart it, right? So that's my first service or my first container, the my API. And then I also have this little thing. So I have the SQL server here, right? And this SQL server will fetch an image because I do not, well, now I have it locally, but it will fetch the image from Microsoft. So it will go and get the latest image from this this tag. And then I have my password here, which is password 12345. And so this is the environment variables I had to add manually when I did this command. I also have to put them in this thingamajiggy. I have the correct ports 1433 bound to 1433, and then I have something called volumes. And the reason I use volume is the following. So basically, whenever you run a container, uh, whatever you do in this container, when you restart this container will be completely empty. And what we use a database to store data, right? So let's say I run this container, I put some data into the database, and then I shut down my computer, and tomorrow I wake up, I start my computer again, and this container spin up. This container will be completely empty. So what you can do is you can create a volume. And basically a volume is kind of a persistent database, something that won't reset or clear whenever you restart your data or your container. And I've also put it over here, volumes, SQL volume. And then as you can see, this also has a network. It's called product network. So both of my containers are actually in the same network. So now this should work, I think. Well, let me just gonna check the next thing. Yeah. So before we do that, we actually also have to change the connection string because now the database isn't called localhost anymore. Now the database is actually called SQL Server. So whatever you put here will be the name of your server. So now I need to take this SQL server, I need to go to my app settings.json, and I need to change this. So the server will not be localhost anymore. It will be SQL server, like so. I will save that. I will go to my Docker Compose file and save that. I'm just going to double check if I missed anything. Who cares? I will run it and we'll see if it works or not. From here, I will do clear. We'll just do that. We'll just remove all of this. We'll do a clear, like so. I'm gonna make this a bit smaller because it's too big. Okay, so from here we want to change directory. So if I do dir, now I want to be in whatever folder my compose file is. And as you can see, there is no compose.yaml here, so I need to go back one folder. So I'll do cd dot dot, which is back one folder, and I do dir again, and I can see that my compose file is here. Now, in order for me to spin up these containers, the first thing I will do is I will remove these containers that I already have running. So I have no running containers. And I can also remove these images so that we have a clean and clear build. So from here, what I will do is I will go to my terminal and I will just do clear again. And I will do docker compose up, and I will do build to build my images. And now it will actually start with building the images first, and then it will start the containers. And this might take a while, not a while, maybe 4 minutes, because well, we're creating a network. That's the first thing we're doing, and then we're creating two images, and then from these images we're also spinning up two containers, which takes some time. So let's just wait. And while we wait, I will just pause the recording. Okay, so we're back now. So as you can see, it seems like everything worked as intended. We're just gonna check the logs. This took some time for me because well, I have a lot of shit going on right now on my computer. But as you can see, my Docker Compose is up and running, and both the SQL Server and the Docker Compose Potato is actually running. Now we need to check if it's actually working, right? And usually when you think stuff is going to work, stuff never works. So let's just check. So we'll press here and we go here. And well, this won't work again because we need to go to swagger.index.html, right? And we can see that well, at least the application works, which is perfect, right? What we want to do now, and this is the actual the ultimate test, we need to see, can we see the data in the database? So we'll press try it out, we'll press execute, and boom, we see that it works. Amazing. Amazing. Now, before I end this video, I also wanted to show you guys how you can create a quick post request because, well, it's all nice and dandy with having the database up and working, but we also want to see that we can actually create a new product and we want to see that this product actually remains when I restart the computer, restart the container, because this again, I'm using volumes right now, and every time I start this program, since I have this code snippet, what it will do, it will actually, manually put in these products for me. So it doesn't matter if the container dies or not, I will always have these three products. But what I want to see is that I want to create a new product, and I want to restart the container, and I want to start it again, and I want to see that it actually still there. So what we will do from here is we'll create one new endpoint, and this will be our post request. So from here we'll do app.map post, like so, and here since we have this rest thing, we'll do the same path, right? But this will be a post request, and you can see that this is a map get and this is a map post, right? So this post request will also be async, like so, and it will have the product. So we want the user to put in a product, and we'll call this product, and it should also have the product context. So we'll do product context, like so, and we'll call this just db, right? And here we'll do like that lambda expression, and we'll do our curly brackets, like so. We'll add our semicolon at the end, like so, and here we'll add our code. So we'll use db.products.add product, like so, and then we'll do await and db.save changes. Again, whenever you're working with SQL databases, you need to make sure that you also save your changes, right? And here we also want to return the results. So we'll do return results results.uk, and we'll do boom boom bam, like so. And now what I can do is I will actually, since I changed the code, I need to rebuild the images and stuff like that. And just to make sure that everything works as intended, you see, here's the containers. I will remove these containers. So you see, dead containers are dead now. I will also remove the images just for shits and giggles. We remove those so we have a fresh start. And now I'm just gonna make sure that everything is saved. It is. Boom, 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 boom. I think that's fine. And from here, we can do one more time. I'm just gonna clear this. Boom. And I'll do the same command, docker compose up build. I'll press enter, and I will stop the recording again because, yeah, this took like around 3 minutes or so. All right, so we're back. So now we can see that everything is running, and if I go to Docker desktop, I can also see, if I go to containers, I see that both my thingamajiggies are running. From here, I will just go back to the thing. I will go back to my thing, and I will do here /index swagger.html again because I'm using Swagger. Now you can see I have my new endpoint, which is called well, it's called products as well, but this is a post request. And the reason I call them the same, well, this is if you haven't heard about REST APIs, you should also check out REST fundamentals. But basically, I can just try it out. So I will do the get request. I see I have three items in my database. If I go to the post request and I press try it out, again, these are the three that are manually seeded each time, or automatically seeded each time I run the application. So there's nothing new here. But here on my products, I will remove this. I will do a name. Name is going to be, let's create Zingo, right? And Zingo will also be 5. If I press execute now, I can see that everything seems to be working as intended, right? Boom, boom, boom. I think so. I think it seems like it worked. We can also check. So we'll go back to this one. So now I will do the get request again. I will execute, and now you see I have five thingamajigs, which is amazing. Now what I want to do again, the main thing is that this Zingo is still here. So what I will do now is I will delete these containers, boom, like so, delete forever, like so, boom, boom, boom. And this time I will go back to this thing again. I will do clear. Now I won't remove my images, so hopefully it goes a bit faster, and I will just do docker compose up. Now it should be working fairly good. We're gonna wait, we're gonna wait, we're gonna wait. Boom, 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 boom. A lot of error, a lot of messages. So if you're fast enough, maybe you caught all of them. But now we can see that we also have our containers up and running. So it just when you're building them from scratch, right? You don't have the image, you don't have anything. It takes a long time. But whenever you just do Docker Compose up, it goes super fast, right? Now we'll do the same thing. We'll go back here, right? And we'll do swagger.index.html and we'll just do get. And now we want to see 4 products. So we'll do try it out, execute, and boom, we have our 4 products. Amazing. And now if I go back to my notepad, I can also see that everything is working. So we changed the connection string, we did Docker Compose up build, and 17 finished. Easy peasy, GG, Wepe, good luck, have fun, eat shit. Amazing, right? So that's kind of it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below, or I don't know, put them somewhere else, wherever you feel is appropriate. Thank you very much. Have a good day and have a good night. Bye bye.